We've all seen it. A neat little roll of rice, seaweed, and some raw fish, sitting pretty on a wooden board with a dab of wasabi and a drizzle of soy sauce. It's classy, it's photogenic, and it's one of the most popular dishes in the world, sushi. But here's the thing. What if I told you that sushi doesn't actually mean raw fish? Yep, the word sushi has nothing to do with fish at all. So where does the name come from? That's the question we're answering today. Why is it called sushi? How did it go from an ancient food preservation method to an art form served in high-end restaurants? Let's dive into the surprising story behind the name and evolution of this Japanese staple, right here, on History of Simple Things. Let's get this out of the way. Sushi does not mean raw fish. That's one of the most common misconceptions out there. When people hear sushi, they often picture slices of salmon or tuna, but those are actually called sashimi, which literally means pierced body. Sushi, on the other hand, is all about the rice. Yep, the key to sushi isn't what's on top, it's what's underneath. The word sushi actually refers to vinegared rice. That slightly tangy, sticky rice is what defines sushi. The fish, vegetables, or seaweed are just toppings or accompaniments. In fact, a sushi chef could make an entire sushi meal without a single piece of fish, and it would still be called sushi. So really, the raw fish gets all the credit, but the rice is the real star of the show. To really understand why it's called sushi, we've got to rewind, way before Japan made it famous. Long before sushi became a trendy food, it was actually a preservation method. The earliest form of sushi dates back over 2,000 years, not in Japan, but in Southeast Asia. People discovered that if you packed fish in cooked rice and let it ferment, it would keep for months. The rice would sour and ferment, producing lactic acid that preserved the fish. This early dish was known as narazushi, which means aged or fermented sushi. People would eat the fish and throw away the rice because it was too sour. The word sushi itself likely came from an older Japanese phrase meaning sour tasting, which perfectly described that fermented rice. So originally, sushi didn't mean delicious fish dish. It meant that sour stuff we used to keep fish from rotting. Quite the glow-up, huh? By the time sushi reached Japan around the 8th century, the Japanese started tweaking the formula. They loved the preservation idea, but not the months-long wait or the part where you had to toss the rice. Eventually, people began to eat the rice with the fish, shortening the fermentation period. This version was called namarezushi, meaning half-fermented sushi. Over time, the fermentation process got shorter and shorter until someone said, "You know what? Let's just skip the fermentation part and use vinegar instead." And that's where things changed. Instead of letting the rice go sour naturally, they seasoned it with vinegar, achieving that same tangy taste instantly. This new style was known as hayazushi, meaning fast sushi. Now the rice and fish were both edible, fresh, and tasty. It was convenient, flavorful, and didn't stink up the kitchen. Sushi was finally becoming a meal rather than a storage hack. Fast forward to the early 19th century in Edo, what we now know as Tokyo. The city was booming, people were busy, and food stalls were popping up everywhere. It was basically the Japanese version of New York street food culture. That's when a man named Hanaya Yohei changed everything. Around the 1820s, he created a new kind of sushi called nigirizushi, or hand-pressed sushi. Instead of fermenting the fish, he used fresh slices on top of vinegared rice, shaped by hand into small, bite-sized portions. It was fast, delicious, and perfect for city life. Think of it as the original fast food of Japan. This style became wildly popular, especially among the working class. People could walk up to a stall, grab a few pieces, and eat them standing up. No chopsticks, no waiting, no fuss. And even though it was quick to make, it still carried the elegance and balance we associate with sushi today. Hanaya Yohei's creation was so influential that his version became the foundation of modern sushi, the one we eat at restaurants worldwide today. For a long time, sushi remained a local Japanese delicacy. After World War II, as Japan's culture gained global attention, sushi began to spread abroad. By the 1960s and 70s, it reached cities like Los Angeles and New York. But since many Americans weren't keen on raw fish, chefs adapted, creating the California roll with crab, avocado, and rice on the outside. It became the perfect gateway to introduce sushi to the West. From there, sushi went global, evolving from a quick street bite to a symbol of elegance and artistry. Yet through all its transformations, one thing never changed. The su in sushi still honors that vinegared rice, the sour taste that started it all. Linguistically, sushi comes from an old Japanese word meaning sour. The su stands for vinegar, while shi describes something with that sour taste. So sushi literally translates to something sour tasting. Even as it evolved from fermented fish to vinegared rice, the name stayed the same, a nod to its distinct tangy flavor. In short, sushi is named after its taste, not its ingredients, a simple but poetic reflection of its balance and harmony. So now you know, sushi isn't about the fish, it's about the rice. And its name? A tribute to the sour taste that started it all. From ancient Southeast Asia to modern Tokyo, from a humble preservation method to a global delicacy, sushi has come a long way, but it never forgot its roots. Thank you for watching. If you have suggestions for our next video, feel free to share them in the comments below. We'll be sure to give you an acknowledgement for your contribution. If you enjoyed this video, please check out our other bingeable channels. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the history of simple things. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more stories woven through the smallest details.